You can only know what we really are. Dun dun dun. What we really are. Dun dun dun. Sounds like somebody went to the Michael Bay School of Trailer Editing. Sorry for the crappy lighting. But again, but whatever. Um. So, all right. From yesterday's little recording, I wanted to make a site, not a Mendum, but a add-ons. This is kind of a part two. I have no idea what to call it yet. Maybe I'll call it redemption characters or something. Anyway, point is that the series is I was grappling about that don't do redemption arcs right, that do the dramatic heel turns, have at least one character that they actually, invest the concept of redemption time too. They have. Okay, My Little Pony is rife with characters. Okay, in the beginning, MLP was, we blasted the bad guy with rainbows, and we, we set the bar back to zero, and the person has to figure out what to do. We kind of, cleared the board, so to say. We reset it back to factory settings. All right, so now you can look back and see how bit of a jerk you've been. And in between those, there have been just these, well, when you want to say it, just standard friendship problems. Just, I would how interactions work, social norms, stuff that deals with you and other people. Those were pretty good in the beginning. And they only blasted, Nightmare Moon and Discord. But Discord wasn't redeemed, he was just there. He was just set dressing. That came along later in season 3 for his part. But the thing is that was kind of more the standard. And then with Sunset Shimmer, same thing. You and the Equestria Girls series is that you more just blasted them with rainbows and you managed to defeat them. In the original MLP storyline, they wrote out the rainbows and kind of more just kept the social norm, so you have to talk your way out of problems, which was good. Yes, you can't rely on a Deus Ex Machina. You have to, like the rest of the show, work to achieve, please don't destroy our world or me. You have to debate this with the villain, which is very smart. But when you got down to the small episodes again, the little episodic little things, the one-shots, all they did was say, well, it's run time at the end of the episode, so now we gotta have the dramatic heel turn. So whoever's the antagonist has to come to realize, being a jerk is not the best thing. But that's the thing. We had a lot of those, dramatic heel turns or resolutions. So a lot of those episodes kind of feel more like they just blundered into, or lack of a better term, bullshitted their way through it. And a lot of them just felt like, resolved quick. That's what dramatic heel turns is. The dramatic resolutions come from. That's why people don't like a whole lot of the endings of the episodes, is because it's like, that seemed a little fast or a little quick, or, because it's the runtime. It's not a moral choice dilemma. It's more of, the moral choice is influenced by the runtime. Now, saying that, since season 3, Discord has had the only one with the overarching story of actually, earning their trust, earning his redemption. He's learned to not be a jerk, That's why he's become more of a fan favorite, because when he comes in, he learns a little bit more, another element more of not being an antagonist. He's learned the value of friendship. And he actually earns it. out of everybody else. Nobody else in the series has earned their redemption. So there's a lot of there's there's a hit and tons of misses, and that's why Steel Discord's a fan favorite in the series, or is a fan favorite in the series. When Steven Universe started up, it went through a lot of the same things. It was episodic. It had no real overarching structure really until they got into the Diamond arc, when it's like we capture these monsters, and Steven had just stuff happen to him. He was just dragged along for this, and eventually he kind of learns how to fight. He kind of learns how to hide. He kind of comes up with a plan. He kind of becomes more and more active for each passing episode. He learns about his powers and learns what to do even without powers. Um, but then when it becomes that these are your people, or this is your family, he becomes to, we gotta fight to, no, I can't fight family. It's like, you do realize they're going to kill you, right? It's like, yeah, but it's like space Nazis, she-wolf of the, genderless she-wolves of the SS aren't going to care that you're trying to say that you are, a relation. They're not going to, you know. And yes, much like Lily Orchard said, is that the Diamonds have passed the event horizon of redeemability. They're just irredeemable, but then they just hand wave that away and said, yeah, sure, well, let's do that. That's called the dramatic heel turn. But the only one character, again, that really has a redemption that is, you know, feels logical and right is Peridot. And that's why she also become a bit of a fan favorite. Lapis is, well, she's given a bunch of opportunities to resolve her issue, but she can't, and then she can't, and then she can't, and it's like, ugh, I know this is going to take a while, but seriously, you can try to get over your shit and be much happier for it. But she doesn't, because she can't move on. She's stuck in the past. She can't find her resolution, her satisfying conclusion. The only thing she could do was to vent all that out on Jasper. But even that made her feel terrible because she loved it too damn much. So she's depressed about that. And then she's kind of just been pushed to the sideline since the end of the series so far. So yeah, that's why Lapis' story isn't as enriching or as in deep as Peridot, because Peridot's gone through stuff. She's gone through emotions. She's gone through, the rise and fall for idolization of the Diamonds, her self-worth, finding out she has powers, being befriended by Steven, and then eventually by the Gems, and then promoted, is that word? Offered the chance to fuse with Carnot to understand why she just does that just casually instead of for a real actual labor or more like necessary purpose. Isn't out of, well, I need to lift this because I couldn't lift this before, or I need to do something I couldn't do before. I go, no, this is just how I want to be all the time. So, and in many other shows, they try to do the redemption thing, or they try to do a resolution thing to the problem at hand. But again, the moral of the story is influenced by the runtime, which makes it unrealistic. Diamond Tiara would not have had a dramatic heel turn at the end of the episode if not for the fact that her mother was there at the end being a jerk. It feels more like that. If her mother wasn't there, I think she would have had a fair and logical sense saying, okay, I not necessarily out of spite, but she did this more because her mother was there. Her mother was being an influence and saying, no, I rebel against you. But it feels more like at the moment rather than instead of saying, left or right. But no real influence in that. It all had to be inside struggle. But now there was an exterior factor, her mother being right there, so therefore her choice was obvious, not against the, aggravating aspect of my life, so I'll go this way. You know, her mother being there influenced her instead of just having all of it in the background. But there's nothing there being the positive and the negative of what to do present. It was just the negative was present, so therefore the obvious thing was to go to the positive, even though the positive wasn't being attractive. There was nothing there to allure her to being the positive. It just was the only opportunity that was not her mother. Anyway, yes, and I'm pretty sure there were other redeemable characters, but those are more side characters than anything else. Like that frog guy from Star. Tom, not really. He was never really an antagonist. He was just angry. Uh, I can't think off the top of my head, but that's the amendment I wanted to make. And Pearl finding her self-worth was pretty good. Um, you know, she became a lot more of an independent character, a lot less of a sad character. You know, it's time to, face things, face the fact that Pearl, that Pink's not coming back anytime soon. Um, that you can find your own self worth within yourself. It can't be. You don't have to be a hangers on. Attach yourself to someone else in order to feel valued. It was, she became a lot more of an independent character, so her baggage, was a lot less. It's being worked on. It's not being resolved, but it's being looked at, and actually we show progress a bit. Unlike Lapis, where we say, yeah, we acknowledge the fact that you have problems. Yeah, she acknowledges you have problems, but she doesn't really do anything to resolve it. She's just not being a pain about it 24/7 like she was sometimes in the barn. That's really all. Uh, so yeah, but much unlike and like Amethyst, she's kind of realizing that she is flawed, but Rose kept saying you're fine the way you are, and that why bother to change? So therefore, when she fights like a bruiser when she's in fact not. So it's like you have to fight, for your physical type. And if you're not a bruiser, you cannot fight like a bruiser and expect it to win. It's like, duh, that's why you lost to Jasper, because you're not a bruiser. And she has to realize that, yes, she is fine the way she is, but she has to realize what type of person she is. She is not a bruiser, so therefore, do not fight like one. You will not win. But again, just hand waving it and saying, and that all that body positive bullshit, it doesn't help. You're just enabling the problem. You're not exasperating, but you're allowing problems to crop up more than they should. If she just said, you're fine the way you are, but you cannot fight like a bruiser, even though you were meant to be one. You have to come at it a different angle, a different way. But she couldn't do that, because then it would mean that she's different and there's something wrong with her. It's like, yes, but you have to understand that and solve the problem. But she didn't. She just did the body positive thing and halfway the way say, yes, you're different, but there's nothing wrong with you. And then just left it at that, and then you wonder why she got defeated by Jasper. So yes, I hope that solves everything. Connie and Steven, I'm not worried about those two crazy kids. They're already in love with each other. They started out so early, so that those awkward years, so when they transition from friend love to romantic love, which is kind of already there to begin with, they'll be fine. That transitions of a couple of more emotions, more of romance. I think since they've already fused, that really shouldn't be much of a challenge for them, much like it is for other couples. So I think they'll be just fine. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about from yesterday. Sorry, I need a light. The closest thing out, at least some light. Ooh. Yeah, look at this. Whatever. Anyway, so Take care, and see you at the movies.